Hey, sorry to bother you. At some point, could you run me through your drum removal method? I'm actually planning to make a video for once in my life. Well, this is for you, Trigger. I will be teaching you how to drum remove, or rather how I drum remove, using a program called Ultimate Vocal Remover. And if you don't have this program, go download it because it's free and it's super powerful. And this is basically what I'm going to be using in this tutorial because it's pretty simple and straightforward, and for 99% of your covers this will work because of how powerful this thing is. It's like RX but better. Basically, once you have this downloaded, you're gonna go ahead and open it. So today I'll be just removing a classic song, AU5 and Nitrix Only in a Dream. And I already did a bit of work behind the scenes because I had a crash happen. And I mean, like, when I was recording this entire session of me drum removing, in the middle of it, I realized that my desktop audio wasn't being recorded. So now I'm re-recording it again. But anyways, I'll be basically doing a quick rundown to back to where I was. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and just remove all these tracks because I don't use that process anymore for this sake. For the sake of this video, we're gonna be using the Ultimate Vocal Remover, and basically what it does is it takes a song and it's like music rebalance in RX. It uses AI and it removes vocals, bass, drums, and then everything else. So we're gonna go ahead and name. Actually, we don't need to name it. I'm just gonna change it to a different color. And we need 4 tracks. I'm gonna delete this one. I'm gonna name this original. What I did beforehand was align this to grid and make sure the BPM was correct. I figured out the BPM was 145 for AU5 Only in a Dream. And then basically what I did was I lined up. So what I like to do is just like take away like 1 bar of space so that I have space to work with, because if per se this is all the way back and I'm like the drums don't line up with the grid, like for say, like you can see here the kick starts here but it's supposed to be here and I can't drag it back, and so that's why I'm like, okay, let me just get rid of like the first measure just for now so that I can actually move this back on grid so that, you know, it actually makes sense. Like so, right? And then I would just drag this back, and that's when the song will start, right? So that's basically what I did, and then I exported it, and I'll just go ahead and redo this entire thing just so I can show you again. So you make sure the drums are on grid. I think I went a bit too far, as you can see. I like to be very precise in terms of the drum. There we go. And then just make sure you drag this all the way back so that, you know, you don't have any empty space. I like to also end the song on grid as well, so you can see like this, per se. Easy, it's easy, simple fix, like so. I do Control-Shift-R to export, or if you don't want to do that, you can go File, Export Audio Video, Export. And actually, before we do this, let's go ahead and make a project file, folder rather. So I'm gonna go in Launchpad, pre-sample projects, and name this AU5. And keyboard likes to disconnect a lot, so sometimes keys don't pop up, or rather letters. Always, no, not always in a nightmare, I'm stupid. Only in a dream. Always in a nightmare is also a good song. So go ahead and export that. Now we export this. I'm gonna go ahead and just export into the folder, or you can add a folder, it's up to you. I'm gonna name this Only in a Dream on grid. I like to name it on grid because it's basically the song, but it's cut so that it follows the grid on Ableton, so that's on metronome. Then we're gonna go ahead and open up Ultimate Vocal Remover, select input, and I'm going to go into the project folder. So that would be AU5 Nitrix Only in a Dream. Grab this, click that as our input, and I select output, and it went straight to the folder. I'm gonna actually name this folder stem. I'm stupid. There's gonna be 4 stems. So I name that folder stems, and you click select folder, and then you click start processing. Now, I already did all of this beforehand, so but basically you can also make sure that the process method is demux v3, demux model is mdx extra, GPU conversion must be turned on. It doesn't have to be, depends on how good your GPU is, but I think makes it like work faster because it uses your GPU instead of your CPU or something like that. But anyways, you click start processing, and then it should output these stems into that folder, this folder here. But for the sake of this video, like I said, I already have the stems here, so we'll go ahead and work with that immediately. After you're done, all done, you can close out of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and disable the original, and we're gonna go ahead and just grab all of these. Oops, didn't mean to open that. So click and drag all 4, hold control, and there we go. Name this bass, drums, other, and vocals. Here we go. So for the most part, all of this should be on grid, and if you just press play, you know, you got the original song being played back to you, basically. So if we just remove the drums, like, it's just a drum removal, but we're not gonna do that because I'll show you why. Let's say if I grab this kick, if I grab this snare, I'm gonna put this on my Launchpad real quick so that I can actually physically play them. And my Launchpad isn't connected. Great. There we go. So if I play it like physically, like it's okay, but it's missing like hi-hats and stuff in it because, you know, when you remove the entire thing, you're missing this, and this, and that adds to the song. That's called the hi-hats and crashes and whatnot. And you're missing like random stuff that Ultimate Vocal Remover wants to remove, and also toms, right? I'm also gonna be removing these as well. So here we go. So what I like to do as you get these stems is I like to automate the volume by right-clicking this good old volume decibel thing right here, show automation, and then just create these little things here, right? Little dips in volume, basically. And what that does, it makes it sound like this. Not really. It makes it sound silent, but basically what it's doing is like at this point, you know, be 0 volume, and then fade all the way back to 0. It sounds a lot more apparent when I do this, right? Comparatively to if I remove this. It's like a little fade, like fading in the audio. To give another visual perspective, it's like this thing. It's like this, same thing, except it's copy and pasteable like this, right? So what I do is that, and then I like to also add like a little curve by holding Alt on my keyboard and clicking and dragging this. So like something like this, and I just do that, and then you do that for the rest of the drums, basically. Oops. If you're lazy, so, you know, just do this. Pretty simple and, you know, straightforward. And then for this, I'm just gonna take out the entire thing because it's pretty easy to remove toms like that. Anyways, I go like that, you know, repeat, copy and paste, just automation all the way until the end. And then I also realized that this kick is a different kick, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove that as well. Let's put this here, and I'm also gonna get out another random kick. Let's get a let's just pick out like one of these kicks. I don't know, this one here, because I realized that there's a kick in the song. There's this kick, which is, you know, this one, and then there's the kick with the hi-hat, which is prevalent everywhere else. Like here, you can hear the hi-hat, right? So the drum pattern goes as follows, like kick with no hi-hat, and then snare, kick with hi-hat, snare, right? And this is the last kick, of course. There's also the toms that we removed, so I'm going to go ahead and drag this into the drum rack as well. And it goes like that. Pretty simple. And so now all we can do is start making MIDI clips so that it automatically plays it back. So that's the low kick, and then the snares right here. And this is no longer low kick. We need the hi-hat kick like so. And then this has to be the low kick as well. And then there's a drum fill right here, right? And then there's no kick here. There's the toms though. So let's go ahead and do the drum fill. Also, another thing to mention, drum wrecks do tend to be quieter by like 2.7 decibels, just out of nature, just because your Ableton likes to mix at lower like 2.7 lower decibels with drum racks, because if everything was at 0, then everything would be clipping all the time. But I don't actually know the reason why it does that. So just to keep in mind, your drums will be quieter than the original. Like per se, if I grab like this for like this kick sample, right? Let me turn off the automation real quick. So listen to how loud it is, and then listen to me playing it. It's like 2.7 decibels quieter. So for accuracy's sake, I like to up the drums by like 2.7 decibels, and then play it back. Okay, so we basically drum removed the drop, and we need to just do the rest of this. Let me do that real quick. So we got the entire drop drum removed. We got the drum. Now we can add a fade if you want to clean it up a little bit. Like you can hear a little bit of a sweep here. Just do a little fade out. Taking care. Just add a little fade out to all of them. The toms I'll just leave alone. And sometimes with my drums I like to add an EQ8, so you can find that in audio effects. Grab an EQ8, put it on the kick, and I like to add a shelf, is what it's called. Like around 2 to 3 decibels, around the 1000 frequency mark and higher. I like to add a bit more transient and lower down the gain a bit. And then not duplicate, oops. Copy and paste that to my snare as well. Add that to this kick as well. I don't think I need to add it to that kick. So what this does, it adds a little bit more attack, like the transient to the drums. If you're a music producer, you'll know what I mean. The transient of the drum is like the click, the first milliseconds of the drum. It just adds a little bit more punch to it. But it's a little bit of personal preference. It's up to you. That's just what I like to do. I like loud drums personally. So that's basically how I drum remove. In essence, like you just repeat that process for builds or stuff. As for vocals and instrumental, let's go ahead and try it. So eyes closed tonight, and I'm now beside you. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is we don't want to be playing freaking 3 instruments on our left hand and then like the vocals on our right hand, right? So we're just gonna combine all these. So if I just select, and at this point you can just turn this into one sample. So I'm gonna select this, I'm gonna disable this by selecting this and clicking 0 on my keyboard. Select this, export by going Control Shift R, export this. I'm gonna create a new folder, name it random stems, random samples rather, because they're not really stems. And I'm just gonna name this like beginning, intro, whatever you feel like will work best for you. Instrumental. And then I go ahead and disable all of this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 additional tracks. Name this like track 1 and like track 2. Then go ahead and go into our project folder, click on random samples, and there we go. Everything is here, right? We just exported that. Then we can just copy and paste this here, right? Like so. There we go. So now, what we did is we just combined these three things right here, the other drums and bass, into one simple audio file. And then we just took the vocals and then dragged it down here. So now you can play the instrumental and then you can play the vocals as well. Now be careful, because sometimes if you play it off time, it might sound different depending on the song. Yeah, so like if you play it a slightly off time, it might sound a little bit funky, but that's not too much to worry about. If that becomes an issue, just go ahead and grab like freaking I don't know, make the vocals louder, make it quiet, make the instrumental quieter. Sometimes you can add a little bit of post-processing by adding an EQ8 on the vocals, and then you can, you know, do the little shelf thing like I told you to. It also adds a little bit of punch to the vocals as well. You can add, you know, a little bit of pizzazz to your vocals if you want to add an EQ8. That's up to personal preference. Like you can do whatever you want to clean up the vocals. Maybe you can like add an EQ8. Like do whatever you think your ears like. Like honestly, like just play around with EQ8s or whatnot. Or you don't have to at all. You can just keep the original audio. I don't know. You do you. But basically like this is all you need, right? Just instrumental and vocals. So then you just, you know, export this and just be like, I don't know, part 2, or I don't know, bridge, whatever you call this part in freaking music arrangement, because I honestly don't know anymore. Just grab this in here and disable this. Oh yeah, and then you can just export this back. And there you go, you got your entire drop. So let me export that real quick. Oops, I'm stupid. I could just do Control-Shift-R. Boom, boom. And just name this drop 1, drop boom. And then I can disable all of that, and then I can go into here and just drag it to drop. So that should basically show you how I drum a move for the entire song. If you have any other questions, be sure to let me know in DMs, and I'll be sure to help you out when I can. Hopefully this was helpful to anybody who watched this, including you, Trigger. And I hope you all stay safe. Take care.